stop. Before you even think about buying a Nikola electric truck in 2025, you need to hear this, because what most dealers won't tell you could cost you thousands of dollars, and I'm about to break down exactly why the timing of your purchase matters more than you think. Nikola Motors just announced their 2025 pricing structure, and let me tell you, the numbers are different from what we saw last year. But here's the thing. Everyone's asking the same question right now. Should I buy now before prices go up even more, or should I wait and see what happens? And that's exactly what we're going to figure out today. We're going to look at the actual numbers, the real-world factors affecting these prices, and most importantly, what makes sense for your specific situation. Because this isn't a one-size-fits-all answer, and anyone who tells you otherwise isn't being straight with you. So here's the situation. Nikola Motors has increased their prices across the board for 2025. The Nikola Tre BEV, which is their battery electric version, is now sitting at a higher price point than it was in 2024. Same story with the Nikola Tre FCEV, the hydrogen fuel cell version. And if you've been following the company, you know they've had a rough road. Stock prices fluctuating, production challenges, and a lot of skepticism from people who think electric semi-trucks aren't ready for prime time yet. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite all of that, Nikola is pushing forward. They're increasing production capacity, they're expanding their hydrogen fueling network, and they're making big promises about the total cost of ownership over time. So you've got this weird situation where the upfront cost is going up, but they're telling you that the long-term savings will make up for it. And that's the challenge, right? How do you know if that's actually true? How do you know if buying now makes sense, or if you should wait for the market to settle, for more competition to enter the space, for prices to potentially come back down? Because let's be real. When you're talking about commercial trucks, we're not discussing pocket change here. These vehicles can cost anywhere from $200,000 to over $400,000, depending on the configuration, the battery size, and the range you need. That's a massive investment, and making the wrong call could seriously impact your bottom line if you're running a fleet, or it could mean missing out on significant savings if you're too cautious and wait too long. Let's start by breaking down what's actually changing with the 2025 prices. Nikola hasn't released every single detail publicly, but based on dealer information and industry reports, we're looking at price increases ranging from 5 to 8% across different models. That might not sound like much when you say it as a percentage, but when you're talking about a $300,000 vehicle, an 8% increase is $24,000. That's real money. Now, why are prices going up? Nikola will tell you it's about improved technology, better battery chemistry, enhanced safety features, and the cost of scaling up production. And to be fair, some of that is true. The 2025 models do come with improvements. Better range estimates, faster charging capabilities, improved driver assistance systems, and more durable components based on real-world feedback from early adopters. But let's not pretend that's the whole story. The reality is that Nikola, like every other EV manufacturer right now, is dealing with supply chain pressures. Battery costs haven't come down as fast as everyone predicted. Rare earth minerals are still expensive. Labor costs are up. Facility costs are up. Everything is more expensive than it was a few years ago when these price projections were first made. And here's something most people don't think about. Nikola is still in a phase where they're trying to achieve profitability. They're not selling millions of units like Tesla. They're not backed by decades of truck manufacturing revenue like the traditional automakers. They need to increase their margins just to survive as a company. So yes, some of this price increase is absolutely about their business model and their need to become financially stable. Does that mean you're getting ripped off? Not necessarily, it just means you need to understand what you're paying for and why. So let's dig into the argument for buying now. First, if you wait, there's no guarantee prices will come down. In fact, if inflation continues, if supply chain issues get worse, if demand for electric trucks suddenly spikes, prices could go even higher in 2026 and 2027. We've seen this pattern in the EV car market already. Everyone said, wait, prices will drop. But for many models, they didn't. They stayed flat or even went up. Second, there are federal and state incentives available right now that might not be around forever. The federal commercial EV tax credit can be worth thousands of dollars. Some states offer additional rebates, grants, and incentives specifically for commercial electric vehicles. California, for example, has programs that can significantly reduce your effective purchase price. But these programs have budgets, they have deadlines, and they can change with political shifts. If you wait too long, the incentive landscape could look very different, and that free money could disappear. Third, and this is huge for fleet operators, the sooner you get these trucks on the road, the sooner you start seeing operational savings. Electric trucks have lower fuel costs compared to diesel. They have lower maintenance costs because there are fewer moving parts. No oil changes, no diesel particulate filters to replace. The brake systems last longer because of regenerative braking. Over 5 years of operation, these savings add up to tens of thousands of dollars per vehicle. So if you buy now even at the higher 2025 price, you could actually come out ahead compared to someone who waits 2 years to buy at a potentially similar or even higher price, but loses 2 years of operational savings in the meantime. There's also the operational experience factor. Being an early adopter means you learn the quirks, you figure out the optimal routes, you train your drivers, and you establish maintenance routines. By the time electric trucks become the standard, you're already ahead of the curve. Your competitors who waited are still figuring out the basics while you're already optimized and efficient. But now let's flip it. What's the argument for waiting? First, technology is improving at a lightning pace. The 2025 models are better than 2024, but the 2026 models will almost certainly be better than 2025. Battery technology is advancing. Energy density is increasing. Charging speeds are getting faster. Range is improving. If you can afford to wait, you might get a significantly better product a year or two from now for a similar price. Second, competition is heating up. Nikola isn't the only player in the electric semi-truck space anymore. You've got Tesla with the Semi, which is finally starting to deliver in real numbers. You've got traditional manufacturers like Freightliner, Volvo, and Peterbilt all launching their own electric models. More competition means more pressure on pricing. It means manufacturers have to offer better value to win your business. Waiting could give you more options and potentially better deals as these giants fight for market share. Third, infrastructure is still developing. The hydrogen refueling network that Nikola is building out for their FCEV models is limited right now. If you buy a hydrogen truck today, you're constrained by where you can refuel. The same goes for high-speed charging infrastructure for the BEV models, although that's a bit further along. If you wait a year or two, there will be more refueling and charging stations, which makes operations easier and gives you much more flexibility in routing your trucks. So, what's the final verdict? It honestly comes down to your specific business needs and risk tolerance. If you operate on predictable fixed routes where today's charging or fueling infrastructure is already sufficient, and you can lock in great government incentives, buying now could be a smart financial move. You'll start banking those operational savings immediately and get ahead of your competition. However, if your routes are long and varied, if you need maximum flexibility, or if you're nervous about being an early adopter of this specific technology, waiting might be the more prudent choice. Waiting gives technology time to mature, allows the charging and fueling networks to expand, and lets more competitors enter the market, which could drive down prices or give you better options. My advice: don't just look at the sticker price. Run the numbers on your total cost of ownership. Calculate your potential fuel and maintenance savings. Investigate every single federal and state incentive you might qualify for. Talk to other fleet operators who have already made the switch. This isn't just about buying a truck, it's about making a strategic investment in the future of your business. The right answer for you is in the details. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive. I hope this helps you make a more informed decision. If you found this useful, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more content that breaks down what's really happening in the world of transportation. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video.